We're joined now by Kevin Harris, the head rowing coach at the University of Tulsa, and catching up on your late season action. Certainly, number one is the American Athletic Conference Championships. Boy, what a performance, and how close did you come?
It was very close. It was, on points going into the second varsity eight, the varsity eight, we had enough points that if we had won either one of those events, we'd have been heading toward the NCAA Championships. Mm-hmm. It was that close. I think you could define our ability to get to the NCAA Championships as 5 seconds. Yeah. If we had 5 seconds either way, we would have been going to Sacramento. Instead, Central Florida, they were faster than we were. I mean, hats off to the Golden Knights. They did a really great job. What's interesting is that, we raced them earlier in the season and the margin was just about the same. So we both got faster at the same speed going into conference. So, it was great though, because every one of our boats medaled at the conference championship. So everyone was in the top 3, and we were the only team of the 8 to do that. So, our depth is good. Now we just need to work on our top end speed.
Well, and certainly when you go into those final 2 races, you knew the situation.
Oh, yeah.
And you knew even going into the tournament that UCF was probably the
top,
the one to beat, or the boats to beat, or whatever. And to come that close, how frustrating and exhilarating, all of that.
Well, it was funny because, first of all, hats off to the Golden Hurricane Nation, our parents, our friends, our family. We had a tremendous crowd in West Windsor, New Jersey at Lake Mercer for this regatta. I feel like we had more fans there than some of the local teams did. Villanova, Temple, Connecticut. I feel like we had at least as many fans as they did. And, going into those last 2 races, I was getting texts from different people saying, hey, you're ahead in the points. So everyone was really engaged, which is both really exhilarating, but as the coach, I'm trying to stay in a bubble a little bit.
Yeah.
So I was just like, I know, I'm good. I get this. And
you actually keep score, huh?
Oh,
is that right?
Well, Bruce, once
you have to know, right?
Yeah,
going in. Yeah.
As soon as you shove them off, there's nothing I can do.
Right.
At that point, it's, I hope they're going to win this race, and so it was fantastic to see the women race the way that they did. They really raced their hearts out, and that was the best part, I think, of the regatta. And just really tough because we've never been that close to sort of the brass ring, the NCAA Championships. I told them afterwards just how amazing this whole experience, because coming from where we have been to just being in reach of that NCAA is really good. Now we've got to make that switch.
Got to tear the door down or whatever.
Yeah, knock it down, blow it down. I don't know, some analogy. We got to find something over the next 360 days or so and figure that out.
So you don't go to the NCAAs, but
No.
You do go to the IRA. You take a couple of lightweight boats there, and
Yes.
Tell us about that experience.
Yes, well, again, a good experience. I think the lightweights were hurt a little bit because we focused so much on the conference championship that we weren't able to put the lightweights into their boats until basically a week before the IRA. And then, of course, we had some weather issues here, so that probably contributed to it. The lightweight 8 had a not very good first heat. They didn't row like themselves, but they improved after that. Their repechage, their second chance final was great, and they had a great final where it was Villanova 2 seconds ahead of us, and we were 0.03 ahead of MIT. So that was it was just a beautiful race, and they were third for a good portion of that race. I mean, they came through and surged through MIT at the very last stroke to earn that piece. So really proud of the lightweights. They're an important part of what we do. We're going to restructure that a little bit next year and have more focus on the lightweights earlier in the season, so that we could have faster boats going in the IRA next year.
And of course, normally at this time we'd be wrapping up the season and that sort of stuff. However, there's one more event. You get to go to England, to Great Britain for the Henley, which is just an unbelievably traditionally classic rowing venue, and you get to perform there as well. That's really cool.
Well, yeah, the Women's Henley Regatta on Henley and Thames in Oxfordshire in Great Britain. A fantastic thing. One of our trustees and one of our just favorite people in the world, Andy McKay and his wife Helen McKay, are huge supporters of the University of Tulsa. And, Andy wanted us to do something that set us apart. And he had heard about this regatta, and he's very proud of the women of this team. I feel like he's adopted us all and just said, hey, we want you to go do things like he's done with women's basketball and supporting the other teams here. So yeah, we're going to get this chance to go over. We're going to race the Reading Regatta the first weekend that we're there, which I believe is the 12-13. And then the next weekend we're going to race the big one, which is the Henley Women's Regatta. It's on the Thames River, and it's a storied race course because it's also the same course that the men race what's called the Royal Henley Regatta. And a lot of times when people are thinking about rowing in Europe, that's what they're thinking about. They're thinking about the men going side by side, and it's an elimination regatta, right? So, every time we race, we either win or we're done. So it's a very different format than we're used to racing. So we're very excited about it. We're going to take 23 women over. We're going to race in 8 and 2 4s. And hopefully we can come back with, a little pride. A little Royal Henley, Women's Henley medal. That'd be fantastic.
Well, and certainly part of the overall student-athlete experience. This is something the young ladies are never going to forget.
No. And this is why we do foreign trips, right? I mean, it's yes, we want to be competitive and we want to compete, but it's really about enhancing the student-athlete experience. And Dr. Upham always talks about how important the student experience is at the University of Tulsa. Dr. Gregg always talks about the same thing for our student athletes. And of course, Andy and Helen McKay, for them, this is the epitome of that for the women's rowing team, being able to take them to such a storied regatta and be able to compete against crews from all over the world. And we get to do a little sightseeing and that kind of thing too. And when these women come back to Tulsa in 20 years, you and I may not be here, but that experience is something that they will never forget, and it's really important.
All right, update your passport.
Yes, I have.
Good luck out there, and we'll talk to you when you get back.
Thank you.
Head coach Kevin Harris, University of Tulsa rowing.